Truth Seekers, it is Monday, May 24th, 2:17 p.m. here in the Arizona desert, and Shiba Inu is kicking ass. Okay, Bitcoin Daily View, that's where you can find notes to all the stuff that I'm talking about today. In human history, no single asset has come under such coordinated assault by global institutions, and they're talking about Bitcoin. I love this line right here. To appreciate it fully, simply imagine how today's equity, bond, and credit markets would withstand a withdrawal of government support, let alone a full frontal assault. They would not. That's who holds them up. It's so glorious. I love this. Like, for the first time in decades, we saw the ferocious beauty of truly free markets operating at scale, efficiently, ruthlessly. These assets inhabit a world without a buyer of last resort to bail out its bankers. It was a remarkable display of anti-fragility. Yes, banker fragilises, you are not as in control of the world as you used to be. So Bitcoin's been taking a beating, but it's still here and will still here. And I love it. The peaceful revolution will not be stopped. I have some Bitcoin. Ray Dalio says, and he's a very respected billionaire, I do believe. And well, good. We got to ignore these billionaires to some extent. We can't let billionaires and celebrities, really play the market like we have been doing to some extent, especially speaking about Doge and little Mr. Elon and things like that. But you know what? If they say something true, if they say something good, I'm going to praise it. If they don't, I'm going to ignore it. So, or I should say, if they say something negative, I'm going to ignore it. This guy, billionaire, respect it. He said something true, and it's good for the market. So, amen. I'm glad. Ray Dalio, you're a badass. All right. And when money supply, we've been printing so much money that they stopped making this chart because, well, it would cost to spare. And since 2020, where this massive explosion of money printing began, well, look at that. Dollar Strength Index has been crashing. So hyperinflation, get ready, y'all. With that said, Bitcoin in the green today. This is looking at the last hour. So in the last hour, Bitcoin's in the green. It's been red, green, red, green, red, green. Market's been pretty crazy in general, but pumping today. All right, Bitcoin trading volume, last 24 hours, $10.6 billion, 5.8 of that on Binance, basically $2 billion of that on Coinbase. No one showed up for $1 billion. Longs versus shorts. Bitcoin longs, 57% versus 42% on Binance, and Ethereum longs, 59% versus 40%. So sentiment on Binance for all that glorious volume is long. Okay. S&P 500 in the middle, Russell 2000 S&P 500 top, Russell 2000 in the middle, Dow Jones on the bottom. All these charts are just basically fine, but what I would say to note is all of these are getting ready to do a daily MACD positive cross, and I think when that happens, we're going to see a rocket ship to Pluto for Bitcoin. I really do. So gold up top, it's doing fine. Silver underneath it, doing just fine too. So with that said, on the daily chart, Bitcoin is below the 200 moving average. That's not good. MACD is below the mid-range, and also it is negative, but it is beginning to trend towards the positive, and today's daily candle is green so far. So I'm going to call Bitcoin strong, recovered, a confirmed uptrend when we are above the 200 moving average, and we stay there for a day or two, and the MACD has flipped positive. But for immediate price action, the 45-minute chart here is beautiful. Note what is happening. I'm watching people kind of make, I think, some mistakes. Like, it is great right here that we have this, beautiful uptrend. Grab my little tool here. We have this beautiful uptrend here. Who doesn't like seeing that? I mean, we are, darn it, sorry, world's falling apart. There we go, boom. I mean, in one day and 2 hours and 15 minutes, we've been up 20%. That is wonderful, but we are hitting a very expected resistance here. The white moving average is the 200 moving average, so that's becoming resistance. We got to break through it. Bitcoin's working on it. In general, the indicators look good towards that happening. But even when we break above that, with this gap between the 200 moving average and the 314, we're going to see some bouncing back and forth unless it really rocket ships to Pluto through both of those. So I want to see Bitcoin get above the 200 moving average, and also preferably also the 314 moving average, and stay there for 12 to 24 hours. Then I will call this a recovery, okay? Especially if it's uptrending and not just weak ass going sideways. Same thing with the daily chart. I want to see it above the 200 moving average, and I want to see the MACD cross positive. Ethereum like all the alts, working. It's made some great gains recently, but it's working on a 200 moving average. It needs to get over it. It's probably, it's we're going to see some coins start to pop now, some alts for sure, but really I do think Bitcoin is what's going to control most of them. So I'm watching Bitcoin for its movement, and I'll follow along after that. Link USDT, it's working beautiful gains. It's approaching that 200 moving average on the 45-minute chart. These are all 45-minute charts. Sol USDT, beautiful gains, massive gains recently. Working on getting that 200 moving average. I'm just mentioning this because the 200 moving average is probably going to show some resistance for all of these. So if you want to get in now, that's great. Just realize Bitcoin is controlling your life right now, and if it dumps, these will dump. And with that said, you might want to watch closely when you approach that 200 moving average on these alts, because that's where you're probably going to find resistance. That's where you could see a bounce or a pump through, but definitely an area of interest to be watching in the chart. Doge USDT, not doing bad at all. Approaching that 200 moving average, life is good. And don't forget, Doge has its own Glock backplate now, and that's really cool. All right, ADA. Cardano versus USDT versus Tether. Beautiful uptrend, approaching that 200 moving average. Indicators look good. We'll probably break through it, but beware. Matic, it broke through the 200 moving average and in the 314. It looks like it's finding support above. The indicators look good. Boom. That is approaching a play. I'm tempted to get in that and put a stop right on the 200 moving average, but even with this doing so well, I'm going to wait because I want to see Bitcoin get healthy first before I hedge back into Bitcoin and I start playing any alts. Shiba Inu, boom, there you go. It exploded past the 200 moving average, and of course it wicked to the 314, and now we'll find resistance that basically will bounce between the two a little bit, and eventually probably get above that 314 and start mooning, because that's what everybody expects Shiba Inu to do. I'm in some Shiba Inu. I'm not ashamed of it. I think it's friggin' cool, and I think it's going to make us a lot of money. So I hope you got in when it was much, much less than it is now. So Shiba Inu, badass. I hope it moons like crazy and makes millionaires out of a lot of people whose lives just aren't that great, and many whose really are. But just like some of these crazy coins that people, they want to make fun of them a lot. I'm not saying Shiba Inu is not kind of goofy. I know Pancake Swap and Uniswap, all these things, like I know what they are. Maybe they're just a cash grab, but you know what? Traders are in it to make money, and if you can hop in some of that stuff and you can buy like a couple $100 worth and just be speculative because you're making a lot of money anyway, why not have some fun? There's people, I've seen Doge and Shiba and such. I've seen these coins change people's lives who had hard lives. They're now much, much better. And that is the peaceful revolution, and that's why I'm doing it. And I think it's beautiful. And I think they made money doing a good thing, even if these projects are a little bit goofy and they'll come and go. Who cares? Anyway, think about how many bullshit startups came and went back in the .com era. You know what I mean? I would say Shiba Inu has more integrity than all those bullshit artists that just blew venture capital and they knew they were doing it. They're so stupid they didn't know they were doing it. Anyway, with that said, watch Bitcoin versus USDT to stay above the 200 moving average for these 12 to 24 hours. And then we are boom time. Watch the daily chart for Bitcoin. I want to see a positive MACD cross, and I want to see it above the 200 moving average, and I want to see it stay there. If you want to play some of these alts that are looking great, just realize, have your stop in, because if Bitcoin dumps, they're dumping, and all of them, just like Bitcoin is doing, are going to find resistance at the 200 moving average. So be watchful at that point in the chart as you ride it up. Oh yeah, I love watching Shiba Inu pump, because you know why? Because every time Shiba Inu pumps and a bunch of people who didn't have much money just became wealthy, another piece of shit banker cries. I love it. Take care, everybody.